What's up, everybody? Matt Dude here in New Hampshire, man. Just took a nice morning run with Bogart. I've noticed that lately I have not been real good about prioritizing all my time. And that's something I'm going to work on. Subscribe here because I'm going to put together a nice worksheet for myself, which I can then share with you on like just figuring out what it is that I really want to do and then breaking out my day on how I'm going to do that. So I noticed that like when the exercise slips, so does everything else. So I have some renewed motivation to exercise every day, and morning seems the best time for me to do that. Meditation, exercise, everything else comes after. More on that later. What's going on this week over in New Hampshire, man, is this idea that I had, the Skillshare network. So going back a little bit, when I was deployed to Djibouti, like I had this awakening, like if I'm going to make change in the world, I have to start with myself. So with that in mind, like then work out from there. So like focus on what I can do to make myself better, then help my family move in a positive direction of change, and then help my neighbors and my community and work out like that. And while I had that thought, I decided to answer a call for volunteers to the sustainability committee within town. And that's been going on for a couple of years, and that's really cool. And I had this idea that I shared with them called a Skillshare network. The idea was I would unite the town based on this program where people would volunteer and they'd say, hey, I'm really into canning, or I'm really into coding in Python, like whatever it is. And then I put up that list of stuff, and then other people in the town can look at that list and be like, oh, like I also code with Python, and here's the problem I'm having, can you help? Like that was the idea, that like we'd sync people up based on their passions and their hobbies. And that didn't work within the town because there's this, really it's ultimately this fear of like, what if one of those relationships goes sour, and then somebody says, well, hey, the town program is what made this relationship happen, so now the town is liable. And like there was this fear around that liability, and they said, you know what, we're not ready to take that on. And I get it, like it's a total bummer that we live in fear of one another like that. Maybe, you know, the real deeper conversation about that will come at a later time. But anyway, I still think it's a good idea, and I'd like to share it with you, and maybe you can implement it, like if you also think it's a good idea. Like maybe there's other places, and even around here, like there's a permaculture group. I thought like maybe you could have a dude that says, yo, I'm the biochar guy, and then one of the guys like, hey, I'm the edible perennial guy, and like you could, you know, in a local scene, be like, hey, I'm putting in a bunch of perennials, and like here's what I want to do, like what do you think? And like I think there'd be value in that. Then I thought like even around the workplace, like if there's whatever your workplace is, like maybe there's people with particular skills within that workplace, then you could do your work better if you knew about all the skills that were there. And the last point is that like all this probably wouldn't even be necessary if we all focused on being a super connector. And there's check out an earlier post for that. I'll try to include a link somewhere around here to that. But the idea is if there's these people that are real good at getting to know everybody else, then you don't really need this formalized Skillshare network. You just need to be plugged in with that person or a couple people. Be like, hey, I'm having a real hard time with this piece of software, and that person be like, I don't use that piece of software, but I know Jim does, so go talk to Jim, or like let me connect you guys. And I think that would be an even better scenario. Either way, like most of the networks that I'm plugged into don't have any of that set up, so I think that, you know, I'm just going to keep chugging and try to connect people, and you know, in so doing, like the thing that I'm going to walk away from this is like I'm not going to live in fear of meeting people. I'm gonna accept that risk. And you know, Jack Spirko said one time, like the 1% douchebag policy, where like if you go into all your relationships knowing that 1% of the people, maybe 10% in a worst case scenario, are legitimate douchebags, and like they're probably gonna screw you given an opportunity. So then when it happens, instead of being all pissed off and like, well, I'm never gonna meet anybody ever again, be like, oh, well, there it is, you know, like there's that douchebag. So I think it would just take a lot of that, you know, pressure off of this fear, and just accept it and just power on, you know, like go meet people, go find your tribe. That's the opportunity cost of finding your tribe, is being scared. So make sure you subscribe to this channel because there's more coming, and also because this is kind of a thing that issue that I have with YouTube. Like, they withhold functionality to new producers. Like, that's it seems as so short-sighted in my opinion, but it's what YouTube has done. So there's functions within YouTube that I don't have access to unless I get 200 subscribers. Like, that's the first milestone. I'm not even just talking about advertising. Like, I don't care about that. I'm just talking about being able to put links in the video and like share some other channels. Like, it's stupid stuff. Like, I don't know what YouTube's thinking, but it's their platform. They can do whatever they want. I'm not sure where their head's at. So anyway, subscribe, like, hook me up. Appreciate that. And I will see you next time.